Hello guys, and welcome back to Joe's Adventures. And today we're having a very cheeky look at the next update that's planned for Planet Zoo. Looks like update 1.3 coming the 25th of August. So I'm going to be really excited for that. I can't wait to get stuck into that. And this is just giving us a little outline of what to expect for this next pack. And I assume something's going to get released. It's kind of compulsory every 3 months or something. That was the same thing for JWE, same thing for Planet Coaster, and looks like we might be getting something here, but they don't have announced it quite yet, so I think they're going to wait a little closer to release. So it'll be very interesting to see what they're planning. So let's get stuck into this. Okay. Heyo Zookeepers, I like that. We're pleased to reveal free update 1.3 coming to Planet Zoo 25th August 2020. Okay. This free update contains community-requested features and some exciting new additions to Planet Zoo. This post will go in depth about the upcoming additions and how it'll affect your gameplay. So we can see here the animal color variation, another example of it. So you can see the saltwater crocodile. You can kind of see here it's got this more greenish one and more grayish. Kind of see this one's got like a more grayish head. I wonder if it'll get that deep. This one seems a little more grayish and a little bit more variation within that. So, animal color variation. We're excited to introduce differences in animal color, which will make it easier to identify individuals around your zoos. We've done so by sticking to known and realistic colors, and by improving the general appearance of groups and herds with subtler differences in color. So that'd be very cool. So, a lot of things, just different shades, because like a lot of animals aren't just carbon copies of each other. Sometimes one's a little darker, one's a little lighter. And there's also these very rare or even common color morphs that can appear, like black wolves or golden tabby tigers. That's a good example. That'll appear in these animals. So it'll be really cool to see a list of what we get when the update comes. It'll be really interesting. Okay, we've added a way for you to see color and pattern information from the animal market trading window to make it easier for you to carry out your breeding and population goals, and provide our colorblind players with information. That's cool, a little bit of accessibility, and also be able to tell what's coming. If we want to have an animal that's a certain color morph or a certain shade of color, it'd be really cool to know before you buy it. So that'd be awesome. This includes the scientific terms for the color morphs we use in game, such as albino is classed as albino, lunistic, or simply another color. So it'll be like the name of a morph. So if I want to have a tiger, it'll be golden tabby tiger, or what's another one? Maltese tiger, that's a kind of bluish one. I'm sure that it might not be in there. It's kind of a myth, but just an example. Or white tiger is a good example. Not just a true albino, it's just a white tiger. So that's a good example of how that would be used. As the availability of inherent heritable color morph genes in the animal market population is now variable between species. In particular, 6% of the jaguar population are now black jaguars, so that means pretty much every 6 in 100 jaguars will be black, which would be pretty cool. I wonder if we see more albinos and all sorts of different color morphs. That'll be really interesting to see. Like king cheetahs, I like king cheetahs. It's when their stripes not their stripes, the spots kind of morph into each other to look like stripes, and it's really interesting to see, so I'm really hoping you see that. Okay, bird and reptile albinism and leucism is now more likely than before, in line with natural results. That's cool. It won't be so hard to get an albino or lunistic animal. And llama color morphs are extremely common and follow the same breeding rules as albinos with an additional set of color variations. So something like llamas, which are obviously domesticated, have a lot of different color variations. That'd be very interesting to see, because a lot of these animals often in the wild obviously have a lot of different color variation, but something in captivity, because it's bred by people, and a lot of colors and morphs are specifically bred and picked out for their color morphs, or even wool or certain things for certain features that have become more distilled, and you get a lot more variety within that. Okay, so in addition to the color morph genetics, your existing zoo animals carry existing gene information for both color and pattern. This information applies color variation on top of the animal's existing textures to allow for subtle and gradual changes in color between different animals. So that's cool. So it will apply to animals that are already in game, I think. If I can if I read that correctly. That means the animals that you already place in the game, they might have a chance of having a certain color morph or something. Okay. When animals breed, the offspring create color and pattern values in a range around the average of their parents, more often looking similar to at least one of their parents. However, there is now a small chance that a color or pattern will pick a value far away from their parent's color, perhaps look more like a distant relative. So that is really cool. Like, that'll be able to really make it worth breeding certain individuals if you really want to get colors. It isn't just about getting the fittest individuals. So you can visually see, okay, so I want this one and this one to make this color. Not just I want this one to be bigger or be more fertile. It's another reason to really mix and match and breed the different values within your animals. And it's obviously within a range, and then sometimes it could be a mutation or look completely different, but that it's really cool to have that kind of system develop more within the game. So I think that'll be really cool to explore, and it really gives a lot of replayability to having all these different animals and breeding them. Because once you get a good animal, you kind of just want to keep it. Okay, so the team researched animal color and pattern variation and found that documentation was rare and highly variable in quality depending on the species. We've done our absolute best to stick to research photo reference and do them justice. With this in mind, we've tried to avoid coloration that only applies to single individual animals and the contrast color that would look strange for groups. Makes sense. That's it's something particular to an individual. I can understand, because sometimes you get a famous animal that has a certain color variation. So I can see why they want to stray away from that, because that can be very identifiable to one animal. So we have not added color variation to exhibit animals, partly because their environments are so dense and it's hard to distinguish minor variations at a distance. The highly saturated and often very distinct color patterns would be more suited for additional color morphs. So that's kind of sad, actually, because if you look at the reptile hobby or the amphibian or herpiculture, there tends to be a lot of different morphs within the animals. So you can have a albino python and things like that. I know this is more of a conservation game, because obviously those morphs are kind of bred for pets, but that'd be kind of cool to see if you're going to have other types of color morphs. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Let's see, we've got something else now. Oh yeah, food tab, okay. Animal food management page. The team has added an animal food management page to provide you with one location to see all your animals and habitats in your zoos and what food grades the animals have been given. In this menu, you'll see the projected food costs for the year, how many keepers are assigned to look after the animals in your habitat, how much time has passed since the animal was last fed, whether your animals are hungry or not, total cost per year of feeding your animals, the total number of keepers in your zoo, the total number of keepers assigned to the habitat, and total number of keepers not assigned to the habitat. So that's pretty cool, because often you'd have to go click on the bowls in every enclosure and make sure they're getting all level 3, but now you can go and just look at a little tab and click it. It just makes ease of life. I like these quality of life updates. It really just makes life a lot easier for players. So you'll be able to change the food grades for your animals in this menu. This menu has been designed with community feedback in mind to make it easy for you to access and stay on top of food management around a zoo with multiple habitats. So that's really good. It's a really good idea to try and make it easier to manage a zoo, because if you have 2 and 3 enclosures, it's easy to manage that. But if you have 10, 15, 20, 30, you got to manage all those enclosures. So it's really nice to have an ease of life addition to that to make it easier. Okay, so now we've got brand new landscape. New sandbox man. A brand new landscape set in a location to be revealed soon, with new texture terrain surrounding the sky. And I have a feeling we're going to zoom in here. There he is. Zoom in. We'll see if we can figure out the name of it. I believe that is Estonia. That's what I think. And Estonia is obviously in Europe, so that could potentially lead to, because they never really announced it. They announced the update in the DLC, so I have a feeling this is going to be a European DLC. So I'm pretty excited for that. I really want to see animals like European bison. I love European bison. They're a little bit different from American bison. They're a little slimmer, a little taller, but they just have a really nice regal look to them. They're just not quite as hairy in terms of their face. They're a lot more taller and lankier, but they look really nice. They tend to live in more woodlands versus the open plains of the American bison. Also, red deer, fallow deer, Eurasian or Iberian lynx, both are cool. Iberian lynx are very endangered. There's only a few hundred of them. That would be a really cool thing to add into conservation, of course. All sorts of different species. Beavers are a good example. Maybe another wolf variation, like a Italian or Iberian wolves. There's really quite a bit of variation that you can put in that. There's a lot of really interesting animals that you can put from Europe. So I have a feeling this is going to be Europe. It feels like it says Estonian. You can put my word to that. If it's wrong, I'm okay with being wrong. But I know a lot of people have been looking forward to an Australian one, and of course I've been too. But I have a feeling they're gonna, since they know everyone wants it, they might keep it for maybe a year, end of the year or something, kind of like add as a bigger update. So because they know people want it, so I'm assuming they're gonna put it off a little bit. Okay, so we got time scenarios. Let me just back out of this. Okay, what's up? Okay, time scenarios. With this update, we're adding a free time scenario to Estonia. Make sure you check it out. So they kind of just revealed it. Time scenarios task you to completing objectives against the clock, awarding bronze, silver, and gold medals based on how long it takes you to complete a scenario. They'll be providing you with a list of objectives, but unlike career scenarios, these objectives must be maintained once they're achieved, or they will become incomplete again. So you kind of like got to keep on top of it. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, they feel like they kind of revealed it Estonia. So that's pretty cool. I feel like we're definitely going to get something European. I really like that European, all sorts of cool European animals. That'd be really cool. Because a lot of people saying like deer were feeling left out. Raccoon dogs would be another cool thing. Yeah, very, very interesting variation. Wild boar, that's another good one. Wild boar can be found across not just Europe, but they're more characteristic of Europe, but they can be found across China and Southeast Asia. But yeah, that's still very nice selection if they do choose to go with the European pack. Okay, we got vending machines now. Vending machines have been heavily requested, so we're introducing them into Planet Zoo. These work as a cheaper alternative for your guests to help satisfy their needs, but it's important to note that food and drink from a vending machine doesn't satisfy as much as an item from a shop, so it's kind of just not quite as much satisfaction, so you got to make sure that you got to have proper shops, you can't just substitute them. They require power to work, so make sure you place them around power sources. Okay, so that makes sense. Our veteran Planet players should know the placement of vending machines different from Planet Coaster. In Planet Zoo, they are placed like a path extra. It's just a bench or bin and not like a shop with a path connection. So that makes a lot more sense because they're not as huge as a store, but they're not as... they still have like some coding to them, so you'd rather place them like that. So that's pretty cool. Okay, so now we got Staff Management Multi-Select. Thanks to community feedback, we've added a multi-select to the UI Staff Management, or Staff Management UI, meaning that you can select more than one staff member at the same time. With this, you'll be able to train multiple staff at once, give multiple staff pay rises in increments of $10, assign multiple staff to work zones, and fire multiple staffs at once. So this sets a good precedent because a lot of times just picking one and then going back if you want to do multiple. I hope this can apply to animals too. I really hope we can see like go into a thing and drag, like, let's just say if you want to select a herd of wildebeest, we can go just drag it, select all the wildebeest, and just sell them if we need to. I kind of hope that becomes a precedent. And let's see what the quality of life. We've been reading your community suggestions, and thanks to your feedback, we've created a variety of new features. Disable functionality for zoo alerts. You'll be now able to dismiss zoo alerts using the trash can icon, so that's cool. Scenery light toggle. You now have the ability to turn off and on scenery lights at all the time instead of just coming automatically at night. Lights will not work without power unless they're solar powered. That makes sense. So you can get one that are individually solar powered, so they don't need to be centralized. More creativity. We're thrilled to bring you additional creativity with new scenery assets. The foliage includes plants and smaller sapling trees to complement their larger cousins, so that's very cool. We can have more variation with the heights. That's awesome. And while we're adding in 3 new paths and 3 rocks that will be made complement of our new biome. So I'm feeling our new biome is going to be something very marshy or wetland, something that kind of style, because obviously it's supposed to be Estonia. This is kind of in Northern Europe. It tends to be very marshy. So that's kind of the kind of biome I'll be expecting. So yeah, Update 1.3 will be paired with bug fixes and gameplay tweaks that are designed to improve your Planet 2 experience. You get a full update list of update notes when 1.3 goes live on the 25th of August. Thank you for providing your feedback, suggestions, and support. You've been absolutely fantastic. Well, I don't mind supplying support. That's very interesting. So what does this mean? That means we're going to get a lot of new stuff, and I have a feeling, definitely have a feeling that it's going to be Europe DLC, and I'm very excited for that because Europe has it's kind of low-key in terms of the megafauna, but it's got a lot of very interesting animals, and that's a lot because of the population of Europe is quite high and often extirpated a lot of the large megafauna like wolves and bison. Bison almost went extinct in Europe. There was only like a few left, like 20 or so, and now they're up to about a few thousand, so it's a really good comeback for them. Just starting to become like with more rewilding. So I really hope this sets a precedent so we'll be able to, just more ease of life. That'll be really cool. I really just want to select a bunch of animals and then be able to sell them if I need to, instead of having to go individually and adopt or sell one. And it'd be really cool to see how this variation will impact in the future. I really want to see like antler, tusk, horn variations. So that would be interesting. Like if you could have a big bull tusker elephant. I know I've mentioned it in a couple of videos before, but I want to mention it again. I want to have a big bull tusker elephant and a reindeer with some abnormally shaped antlers, and that could probably tie into their rating. So an animal that has really nice symmetrical big tusks or horns, that'd be a very high rating, and an animal that has really small or asymmetrical horns will have a low rating. So that would be pretty cool. I hope this kind of sets the groundwork for that. So yeah, I'm really excited for this update, and I'm really excited for the DLC it looks like they're going to be putting out. Because they usually what they do, they sneaky with it. They usually like to put out a little update, and then they'll put out what's coming out with the DLC. So that should be coming in the next week or so. So yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and remember to like and subscribe, and click that little bell at the bottom there. You see subscribe, little bell. Make sure to click that, and that means you'll be able to get notified whenever I upload something. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys like and subscribe, and bye-bye.